You and a millionaire could be holding the exact same credit card right now, same bank, same piece of plastic, but every single month, one of you is quietly building wealth with it, and the other is slowly handing the bank thousands of dollars they will never get back. Here's what most people don't know. Credit card rewards aren't funded by some magic loyalty budget. They're funded almost entirely by merchant fees collected on every single swipe. The bank takes 2 to 3% from the store every time you tap that card, which means if you're paying your balance in full every month, you are extracting value from the system at zero cost to you. But if you're carrying a balance, you're now paying 20 to 30% interest to subsidize someone else's first-class ticket. The bank didn't design this system to be fair. They designed it knowing most people would carry a balance. That's the business model. But wealthy people figured out something simple. One decision, one mechanical habit, and I'll show you exactly what it is. But first you need to understand why it works. Because without that, it's just advice. With it, it's a system. The average credit card interest rate sits between 20% and 28% annually. If you carry a $3,000 balance and pay only the minimum, you will be paying that card off for over a decade. And by the time it's gone, you will have paid nearly $4,000 in interest on top of the original $3,000. That $3,000 purchase cost you $7,000. Every reward you collected, every point, every mile, was completely erased the moment you carried a balance past the due date. The bank built the minimum payment specifically to keep you paying interest for as long as mathematically possible. It is not a kindness. It is the most profitable button on your phone for them. Wealthy people remove that button entirely. Autopay, full balance, every month. The card never charges them $1 in interest, which means everything the bank collects from merchants, that 2 to 3% on every swipe, flows directly back to them in rewards. They are extracting from the system at zero cost. That is the entry point. But paying in full is just the foundation. The real game hasn't even started yet, because once interest is eliminated, the card transforms from a spending tool into something else entirely. A collection system. A person spending $4,000 a month is moving $48,000 through their hands every year. Most people run that through a debit card and collect nothing. On a flat 2% cashback card, that same $48,000 generates $960 back annually. On a card with category bonuses, 4 times on dining, 3 times on groceries, 5 times on travel, that becomes between $1,400 and $2,800 every single year. From spending they were already going to do. But most people redeem points for statement credits or gift cards, the lowest possible value redemption. Wealthy people transfer points to airline and hotel partners instead. A point worth 1 cent through a card portal becomes worth 1.8 to 2.5 cents transferred to the right partner. On 200,000 points, that difference is between $2,000 and $5,000 in real value. Same points, same card, completely different outcome based on one decision. And then there is category stacking. 2 or 3 cards, each assigned to the category where it pays the highest return. Every dollar automatically routed to the card paying maximum on that specific purchase. The system runs itself, and it generates thousands every year on complete autopilot. But collecting rewards is still not what separates the truly wealthy from everyone else. There are 3 strategies they use that most finance content never reaches, and the first one alone is worth more money over your lifetime than everything I just told you combined. Strategy 1. The credit score as a negotiation weapon. Most people treat their credit score as a report card. Wealthy people treat it as a negotiation instrument, a financial asset worth, in real, calculable dollars, hundreds of thousands over a lifetime. The difference between a 620 and an 800 score on a $400,000 mortgage is approximately 1.5% in interest rate. Over 30 years, that 1.5% is over $120,000 in additional payments. $120,000 to the bank for the exact same house, paid by the person who never understood their score was a negotiation tool, not just a qualification tool. When you walk in with an 800 score, you have something every lender wants. You don't accept the first offer. You call competing lenders. You use their offers against each other. You negotiate the rate down. The person with a 620 accepts whatever they're given. The person with an 800 keeps $120,000 that would have otherwise gone to the bank. Building that score is not complicated. Payment history is 35%. Autopay handles that. Credit utilization is 30%. And this is where most people make a critical mistake. Stay under 30% is the common advice. Wealthy people stay under 10%. On a $10,000 limit card, the reported balance never exceeds $1,000. Not your spending, your reported balance. Pay the card down before the statement closes, and the bureau never sees what you actually spent that month. That single habit moves scores faster than almost anything else. That $120,000 on one house, one loan, one number you never optimized, is worth more than a decade of cashback and points combined. That is the first strategy. And now you understand why I said it. But the credit score is only the beginning. The second strategy is the one that genuinely changes everything. Because this one doesn't just save money, it multiplies it. Strategy 2. Borrowing against assets without ever selling them. When most people need liquidity, they sell an investment, get the cash, move on. Wealthy people almost never do this. Because selling triggers two problems simultaneously. It permanently removes money from compounding, and it triggers capital gains tax of 20% or more. One decision costs future growth and a significant tax bill at the same time. Instead, they borrow against the asset, using it as collateral. At interest rates of 3% to 5%, the asset stays intact. It keeps appreciating. It keeps compounding. The borrowed cash goes to work somewhere else, a new investment, a rental property, a business acquisition. The spread between what the asset earns and what the loan costs is pure profit from a single dollar working in two places at once. The loan is not income. Loans are never taxed. They accessed liquidity, deployed capital, paid zero capital gains tax, and their original asset never stopped growing. Two streams of growth from one asset. That is what multiplying money actually looks like. Not earning more, but making every dollar work twice simultaneously. And if that strategy sounds powerful, the third one operates on a completely different level, because this one doesn't just multiply your personal wealth. It creates an entirely separate financial identity that most people don't even know is possible. And once it exists, it changes what you can access forever. Strategy 3. Building a separate business credit identity. Wealthy business owners build two completely parallel credit identities. One personal, one business, entirely separate, never touching each other. A business with its own EIN, its own bank accounts, its own credit cards, its own credit history, can access hundreds of thousands in financing completely independent of the owner's personal credit. None of it appears on their personal report. None of it affects their debt-to-income ratio. None of it interferes with qualifying for a personal mortgage at the exact same time. Ordinary people fund their businesses with personal credit cards, which destroys personal utilization, which lowers their personal score, which makes every other financial move more expensive. They collapsed two separate financial identities into one and permanently limited what both worlds can access. Wealthy business owners keep those worlds surgically separated. Business credit funds, business growth. Personal credit funds, personal wealth building. Each one maximized independently, each one protecting the other. Together, they create access to capital that a single credit profile could never support alone. Two identities, two borrowing capacities, two worlds of capital, running simultaneously, protecting each other, never interfering. That is what changes what you can access forever. Not a higher income, a second financial identity that most people never knew they were allowed to build. Wealthy people figured out something simple. And after everything we just covered, the autopay system, the rewards optimization, the credit score as a negotiation weapon, borrowing against assets, the separate business credit identity, you might think the answer is complicated. It's not. The bank designed this entire system assuming you would carry a balance. That assumption is what makes their business model profitable. That assumption funds their buildings and their bonuses and their quarterly earnings. Wealthy people simply decided not to fulfill that assumption. They decided the day they got the card that they would never carry a balance, that the bank's business model would not apply to them, that they would sit on the extraction side of the system instead of the subsidy side. That one decision, made once, set up in 4 minutes, running automatically forever, is what makes every other strategy possible. Without it, nothing works. With it, everything works. The card in your wallet right now is either working for you or working for the bank. You now know exactly which side you want to be on, and you now know exactly how to get there.